In this video, I'll be going over, at minimum, one tip for every gadget in the finals. We're going to be starting off with the universal grenades, then moving from heavy to medium, and then finishing with light. Timestamps are there as always if you want to find a specific gadget, starting with the Pyro Grenade. These can go through surfaces, so tossing them onto a heavy hiding behind a barricade, or a team stealing a cash out from a room below, can always be a good way to apply pressure. However, they don't do a ton of damage, so do be aware of that. Besides the obvious of allowing you to block sight lines and doorways, goo can sometimes be placed outside of the map to allow you to get some really weird angles on opponents. The gas cloud created by the gas grenade appears a lot larger than it actually is, so be aware of this when using it on objectives. While the edges of it look like they might damage you, they actually don't. Entering engagements with the Frag Grenade can be very powerful, and I think a lot of the more casual players forget that the Frag's entry damage is this good. Also try ult firing it when you are very close to a full team or are being chased, as it's probably not a good idea to fight a whole team at once, but you can still get some good damage in with the grenade or punish an overly aggressive player. You can sort of anti-flash the flash grenades in this game. The amount and duration of the blind is dependent both on how close you are to the flashbang and if you are looking at it. You can also turn the flashbang effect to black like I have here in the settings. I'm sure most of you know that Barricade can block doors, but did you know that at the right angle it can also block stairways? It also works really well with the mesh shield, and you can put a barricade up right after you deactivate mesh really fast. A strat popular with a lot of higher level players is knocking a cash out over on top of C4 so that they can have a guaranteed cash out drop, as the enemies won't be able to shoot or glitch the C4. You can also shoot C4 with an RPG for some pretty big damage. You can have some fun with motion sensor by placing it down and then hiding in a room next door, and then using charge and slam to hit your distracted and highlighted target. If you need to disengage from a fight, placing when will you retreat is also a good way to tell if the enemy is pursuing you, and can maybe get those solo queue teammates of yours to actually come in and help. I see a lot of heavies still wasting their rockets when they really don't need to be. The best time to use a rocket is only when it has more value than your weapon, and examples of this are while you are in the air, when you see 2 or more players close together, or you need to secure a kill but your normal weapon just won't be able to do much. Using Dome as a method of taking space is one of the best ways it can be used, and if you happen to be running a winch heavy, it can be used to separate teams into pseudo-isolated engagements. Also, if your teammate is stealing the cash out, just wait about 2 seconds before tossing the Dome onto them, and it should run out right as they finish. The anti-grav cube can be a great way to stall a cash out, and when paired with winch, it can be constantly moved around. This is usually super annoying for people to try and steal with, and sometimes the cash out will even push them out of the gravity field, which just means that it resets their counter again. Just be aware that you can shoot the little gravity cube on the ground, but a lot of players just don't do this for some reason. Placing pyro mines on statues is another way to hurt defib users, and they can also be used like gas mines under cash outs to get some bird damage in. Although this isn't quite as effective as the gas mine strat, which I will talk about a little bit later. Placing landmines next to canisters you find on the ground can be a great way to increase the damage of the landmine. Red, orange, green, and blue canisters are all pretty good at helping you get a kill, or at least some stall. I see a lot of people placing their APS right in the middle of an open space to try and cover as much area as possible, but your APS isn't much good when it can just get shot at. Instead, place it near cover like this. Plus, nobody should be taking fights out in the open anyways, so placing it here next to cover incentivizes your teammates to actually use it. At the time of recording this video, you can jump on ziplines infinitely. This has been in the game since launch, so while they might change this in the future, it's been in the game for this long, so Embark might also just be okay with it. Also, if you pair ziplines with jump pad, you can make some crazy distance if you know the maps well enough. You can move cash outs around with the bounce pad, and if you play DMAT, you can use this to get some pretty good stalls. Just DMAT below the cash out and it will hit your bounce pad, making it jump around for a little bit. At this point, you could also go back up to the floor that the enemy was previously on, and now you have high ground. Another tip is to subscribe if you haven't already, and if this video is helpful, giving it a like is really appreciated as it helps out the channel a ton. It helps my videos and the finals reach even more people. For anyone who is wondering what the order is for the data reshaper on carryables, here it is. We start with explosive, then go to smoke, goo, fire, gas, glitch, and then go back to explosive. Data Reshaper can also be used on pretty much every gadget, but you do have to get good timing, which is why I often suggest paying close attention to sound cues. For instance, if someone drops a frag grenade while you are chasing them, listen for this sound, and pull out your Reshaper immediately to allow yourself to continue chasing them. There are some other important sound cues to listen for when you have a Data Reshaper.
Motion sensor online.
At higher levels of play, players will try to body block your defib as it can be triggered on an enemy. Also, using this series of movements while activating your defib is the optimal movement option. Placing gas mines underneath the cash out can be a good way to stall. Just shoot the mines and the gas will partially fill the room above. This is a lot safer and more versatile than using a gas grenade. Glitch mines are best placed on ceilings as they have a very wide range and can also be placed onto enemy statues to deny defibs. Because sonar grenades scan in all directions, it's best to send them into the middle floor of buildings, not on the top or the bottom floors. Thermal bore is the only gadget that can instantly destroy walls, clear out gas, and burn goo all from a distance. If you want to play drop for a cash out with breaching charge, it's sometimes a good idea to use 2 instead of 1, as the explosion isn't nearly as large as a C4 is. You can also stack all of them together and detonate them with a grenade for some crazy damage, but this can be a bit niche, so if you want to make this strategy work, I recommend getting a medium to bring you gas mines, so if they shoot the breaching charge, it triggers the gas. Most of you already probably know that the thermal vision can be paired with the smoke grenade to allow you to get some pretty silly kills, but having thermal vision on makes it so that you can't see landmines, gas, or mesh shields, which can be pretty bad at times, but you can offset this a little in regards to mesh by watching out for this animation here. Also, it's a little buggy when it comes to detecting invisibility, so just because you have thermal on doesn't mean that you will see an invisible light every single time. Tracking dart has the exact same accuracy while being hip fired, and it also does a little bit of damage, which can be enough to stop someone recovering health. Gateway is super versatile and allows you to both get cash outs very fast and transport your team to new locations or right on top of enemies without them taking any damage beforehand. You can also place one gateway above a cash out and then place the other one once the enemy team starts to steal it, and from there you can drop grenades through it, or you can go through it yourself and hit them with a stun. It also might be a good idea to drop the cash box down a floor or two so that you can gateway it more safely. If someone is looking at you, don't stun them, unless they have a melee weapon. You'll probably just end up dead. The best time to use a stun is on a distracted opponent who is away from their team, or someone stealing your cash out in the final seconds. Entering the fight with a glitch grenade can be a great tool versus mediums and heavies, and you usually have enough time to get 1 to 2 magazines off before they start using their abilities again. I recommend, if you have the chance, to throw your second glitch about 5 to 6 seconds after the first. With the right timing, you can pull off a dash at the same time a Vanish Bomb hits the ground, and you can kind of do it with grapple, but only a little bit. Also, just don't use it with cloak. It pauses your invis cooldown while it's active, so it's better to just run something else. Smoke grenades can be used to make your gas and goo unable to be ignited by fire while they are active, so if you really don't want your gas or goo being destroyed, a smoke grenade might be your best option here. And that was, at minimum, 1 tip for every gadget in the finals. While I covered a lot of things in this video, this is by no means every tip in the game, so if I didn't mention something in this video that you'd like to share with the community, leave it in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.